I'm not here to teach you what to think. I'm here to teach you how to think. And when they're sweating, because, hey, you've just had a really great 20, 25 minutes of having sex, and you're sweating as if you've just gone to the gym, you don't smell very good. Neither will she, but you're still going at it. And when you watch porn, all of those real smells, all of those real sensations are not properly depicted. You can't experience it. But you have now associated your own sexual feelings and sexuality to something that is foreign to you. So that when you're finally with a real woman, you might not be able to function. So it might not be that the girl in front of you doesn't turn you on. You may have a dysfunction of being turned on. I have an incredible fear for this next generation of men. When I first started doing these seminars and doing these lectures for adult male virgins, this was a branch of my business that was forced into existence. And each year, because entire generations now are being brought up to deal with computers and deal with inanimate objects, the access to pornographic material has never been easier. You can just go on the internet, type in porn, and get all kinds of images. That wasn't always the case. The only way that you had access to that in the past is that you either had to know somebody who had a particular library of videotapes or reel-to-reel tapes, or you had to get your hands on some nudie magazines, which were not always sold at popular newsstand places like they are now. People didn't spend hours and hours on the internet. Hell, people barely spent any time watching television. Television is still a new technology. It's only been around for something like 50 some odd years. People were going out and socializing with one another. There wasn't a need for a seduction community. There wasn't a need for any relationship coaching. Beware the convenience of your modern times. They are not there to help you find happiness. They are there to get you to spend more money on even more conveniences. Here's something else. The first time you have sex, the younger you are, the more that you will associate your first time at having sex with certain concepts that are going around in your life, and you're going to assume that that's the way all sex is going to be. Okay, what the hell does all that mean? That means that if the first time you have sex is in a threesome with two girls, chances are you will define your sexuality as, well, I'm the type of guy that likes to have sex with more than one woman at the same time. If you've lost your virginity where it was in a threesome, where it was you, a girl, and another guy present, if you have any capacity for bisexuality, that will be increased, and you may in fact act on it at some point. If the first time you have sex, you're in a dirty and disgusting place, like maybe you just took the opportunity to have sex in a really smelly, dirty toilet at the football stadium, you can in fact get the smells of that place, or just the taboo of it, have it become part of your sexuality. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying these are the things you need to be aware of. So when you're setting up your first time, you might want to look at the environment you're in. When you're having sex for the first time, you will be in a heightened emotional state. And anything that's truly out of the ordinary when that happens, you have to be aware that it might become part of your regular sexual experiences. What counts as sex? The thing that counts as sex is as follows. Your penis enters her vagina. That's what counts as sex. So if your penis goes into her mouth, if it goes into her anus, are they sexual acts? Yes. Is it sex? No. Why? Because the psychological impact of your penis going into her vagina is different than the psychological impact of doing any other sexual act. Remember, it's not the physical sensation we're looking at here. Some guys actually prefer anal sex to vaginal sex. It's not the physical sensation. It's the psychological impact. Your brain has been programmed to seek out sex, to put your penis in a vagina. Why? That's how our species procreates. And once you put your penis into a vagina, a psychological impact comes over her, a psychological impact comes over you. So let's say you put your penis in her vagina and neither of you have an orgasm, and you don't ejaculate, and you're only there for 30 seconds, and then you pull out. Does it count as having sex? Yes. Because the psychological impact is always there. So whether sex lasts for 3 hours or 10 seconds, was your penis in her vagina? Yes, counts as sex. At that moment, you're no longer a virgin. Should you tell her or not tell her? I've already covered this a bit, but I really want to get this answer straight through. If she's your girlfriend, if she's a regular fuck buddy or friends with benefits, and you're under the age of 23, yeah, you could probably tell her. Chances are she would already know in those cases. The older you are, the more it's nobody's business. One of the mistakes that adult male virgins make when they're talking with a girl, because sex is so foremost on his mind, is that he tries to bring up the topic of sex in conversation. This is the wrong thing to do. Sex should not necessarily be the topic of conversation. I can tell you now, as a guy who, once I got into the world of seduction, the topic of sexual history and sexual pasts used to be a conversation topic I would start talking with a girl with, because I'd be like, oh, so tell me about your past boyfriends, tell me this, tell me that. And that's why I sometimes became the therapist instead of the lover. When I started learning seduction and I started going into harem management, it's not my business who she's been with. It's not my business how many times she's done it with any particular guy, how many guys she's had, whatever her sexual experiences are. And since I was getting into the habit of sleeping with a girl anywhere from the first date to the third date, I found a lot of other things to be talking about and a lot of other things to be doing. Everything from dancing under the disco ball, I had a disco ball in my own place and I would dance underneath, to talking about her feelings, her experiences, to addressing her emotional needs. And the sex just escalated from leading into that first kiss to having sex. So that it was after sex you find out, oh yeah, well, I've been with this many people and so on and so forth, and I've done this, I've done that. Really? Great. But I've already had sex with you now, so if it turns out that I was with less people, and if it turns out that I was a virgin before this, it doesn't matter. When I finally broke through my 5-year dry spell and I had a girl for the first time in 5 years and we had sex, the sex itself wasn't great. It was good, but I mean, it wasn't anything mind-blowing. It was so intense because I was doing things. I was pulling her hair and I was leading her through my voice and making her say certain things and doing certain things. I led the whole interaction. And it was just about getting it done, not about having fun. And afterwards, I'm sitting there and I look at her and I say, look, I got to tell you something. And she says, oh my God, what? Don't tell me you have a disease. I said, no, nothing like that. I said, I got to tell you. I said, this is the first time that I've done it in 5 years. She just looks at me and says, what? 5 years? I said, yeah, it's the first time I've done it in 5 years. Why did I tell her? Because I'm stupid. It wasn't even something I needed to bring up. But I decided that I wanted to tell her anyway. And it was okay with her. And she actually felt reassured. She was like, you know what? That actually reassures me. Okay, well, that's good. Out of the 5 lovers that I had, I would eventually tell all 5 that, yeah, I went with no sex for 5 years. And it was only the very last one who, after she heard that, says, wow, you had no sex for 5 years. What's wrong with you?